High Admiral Nexera of the Galactic Concordat stared at the holographic display with all four of her crystalline eyes, each focused on a different aspect of the peculiar vessel that had appeared at the edge of regulated space. The ship was unlike anything she'd encountered in her 3 centuries of service. Its hull was a patchwork of metals that should have torn itself apart at the first hint of faster-than-light travel. "Impossible," she whispered, her voice carrying the musical undertones typical of her crystalline species. "Run the scans again." Her second-in-command, strategic officer Vexel, manipulated the control surface with his energy tendrils. "Fourth scan complete, Admiral. Results unchanged. The vessel's hull is primarily composed of titanium and aluminum alloys." His tone carried clear disbelief. The ship, if it could be called that, was massive, easily the size of a Concordat heavy cruiser. Its propulsion systems appeared to be based on primitive nuclear fusion, yet somehow it had managed to breach the light barrier. Weapon ports dotted its surface, but they seemed to be simple mass drivers and chemical projectile launchers. By all rights, it should have been impossible for such a vessel to reach this sector of space. "They're broadcasting," Vexel announced. "Audio only, using basic electromagnetic waves. Translators are... Wait, they're speaking perfect high Concordat." Nexera's crystalline form shimmed with surprise. "Put it through." "Greetings, Galactic Concordat vessel." A calm, professional voice emerged from the communications array. "This is Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth ship Stellar Horizon. We come in peace and request diplomatic contact." The bridge fell silent. Nexera's crew exchanged glances. Earth was an uncontacted world, barely able to reach its own moon according to the latest survey reports. They shouldn't have known about the Concordat, let alone be able to speak its official language. "Captain Chen," Nexera responded carefully, "your presence here is unexpected. Our records indicate your species has not yet achieved reliable interplanetary travel." A soft chuckle came through the channel. "Yes, we thought you might say that. Perhaps we should discuss why those records are so drastically out of date. We have much to share about humanity's true capabilities." Nexera felt her crystalline core pulse with unease. "Your ship's configuration suggests primitive technology, yet you've somehow crossed the void between stars. Explain." "Admiral." Chen's voice carried a hint of amusement. "What you're seeing is exactly what we wanted you to see. The Stellar Horizon's appearance was carefully crafted for this moment. Would you like to see what a human ship really looks like?" Before Nexera could respond, her sensor officer called out in alarm. "Admiral, energy spike. The human vessel is changing." The patchwork hull of the Stellar Horizon began to shift, sections sliding apart and reforming. The dull metal surface rippled like liquid, revealing a sleek, dark vessel underneath. Gone were the crude weapon ports and exposed engine housings. In their place stood smooth, integrated weapon systems far more advanced than anything in the Concordat's arsenal. The ship's new form seemed to drink in light itself, its surface decorated with subtle patterns that somehow hurt to look at directly. "By the first light," Vexel whispered. "This," Captain Chen said, "is the true face of human engineering. We've been out here for centuries, Admiral Nexera. Watching, learning, protecting. We've decided it's finally time to introduce ourselves properly." Nexera's tactical display suddenly lit up with new contacts. Dozens, then hundreds of ships dropping their camouflage throughout Concordat space. Each vessel was unique, yet they all shared that same unsettling aesthetic of barely visible patterns and light-drinking surfaces. "How?" Nexera managed to ask. "How have you hidden for so long?" "Human ingenuity," Chen replied. "We discovered early on that most spacefaring races follow similar technological paths, use similar detection methods. Once we understood those patterns, we simply stepped outside them. Developed technologies that exploit the gaps in conventional scanning systems. Created materials that interact with space-time in ways your scientists haven't yet conceived." A new hologram appeared on Nexera's bridge, a three-dimensional star map showing hundreds of human vessels positioned near major trade routes, population centers, and strategic locations throughout Concordat space. Some had apparently been in place for decades. "We've been your unknown guardians," Chen continued. "Those mysterious disappearances of pirate fleets, the unexplained salvation of stranded ships, the strange sensor ghosts that scared off would-be invaders. All us. Why reveal yourselves now?" Nexera asked, though she suspected she already knew the answer. "Because there's something coming, Admiral. Something ancient and hostile that we've been tracking from the edges of the galaxy. We've managed to hold it back so far, but soon that won't be enough. Humanity has protected the Concordat from the shadows for generations. Now we need to stand together in the light." Nexera studied the transformed vessel before her, its impossible surface still shifting subtly in ways her eyes couldn't quite process. Everything she thought she knew about technological progression, about humanity's place in the galaxy, had been upended in the span of a few minutes. "The Concordat Council will need to be informed," she said finally. "Already done," Chen replied. "Similar conversations are happening throughout Concordat space. We're tired of hiding, Admiral. It's time for humanity to take its place as an equal partner in galactic civilization. The question is, are you ready to accept that your primitive neighbors have been your advanced protectors all along?" Nexera looked at the tactical display again, at the hundreds of revealed human ships that had been hiding in plain sight. Ships that could have been used for invasion at any time, but had instead been used for protection. Her crystalline form hummed with a deep resonance, a sign of acceptance among her people. "Captain Chen," she said, "I believe we have much to discuss about the future of our civilizations, and about this threat you mentioned." "Indeed we do, Admiral," Chen agreed. "Indeed we do." The Concordat Central Chamber had never been so crowded. Representatives from every major spacefaring civilization packed the massive amphitheater, their murmurs creating a cascade of different tones and frequencies that echoed off the crystalline walls. Admiral Nexera stood at attention beside Captain Chen, watching as the human officer prepared to address the gathered delegates. The chamber's central holographic projector hummed to life, filling the space above the assembly with a three-dimensional map of known space. Thousands of points of light represented human vessels, their positions revealing a staggering network of coverage throughout Concordat territory. "For 300 years, Chen began, her voice carrying clearly through the chamber's acoustics, humanity has maintained what we call the Shadow Fleet. Each dot you see represents a ship that has been stationed throughout your space, protecting your worlds, your trade routes, your very way of life, without you ever knowing we existed. A void-born delegate, their plasma form contained within an environmental field, pulsed with skepticism. Impossible. Our sensor networks are the most sophisticated in known space. We would have detected your presence." Chen smiled. "Would you?" She gestured, and a hologram zoomed in on a particular sector. 6 cycles ago, a void-born colony in this region was nearly struck by a rogue comet. The colony's automated defense systems mysteriously activated at the last moment, despite being officially offline for maintenance. That was us. The Voidborn's plasma form flickered in recognition. "We developed our technology along entirely different lines than the Concordat races," Chen continued. "While you focused on manipulating known physics, we explored the spaces between conventional scientific understanding. Our ships don't just avoid detection. They exist in a state that your sensors aren't capable of perceiving." The hologram shifted, showing the stellar horizon's transformation from its deliberate primitive disguise to its true form. The assembled delegates watched in fascination as sections of the ship seemed to fold through dimensions that shouldn't exist. "What you're seeing is called quantum architecture," Chen explained. "Our ships can reconfigure their physical structure by shifting portions of their mass through parallel space-time configurations. It's how we've remained hidden, and it's just one example of how humanity approached space travel differently than the Concordat." A mechanist representative, their cybernetic components gleaming, raised an appendage. Your species was barely industrial when last surveyed. How did you advance so rapidly? We didn't, Chen replied. We were already advanced when you found us. What you surveyed was a carefully maintained facade, automated systems, and primitive structures designed to give the appearance of an emerging civilization. In reality, we had already colonized multiple star systems by then. The hologram changed again, showing the true extent of human space. Hundreds of star systems, connected by a network of quantum corridors that defied conventional faster-than-light physics. The assembled delegates stirred uneasily at the revelation of such extensive hidden territory. But why? Asked a crystalline elder, their form refracting light in patterns of confusion. Why maintain this deception for so long? Chen's expression grew serious. Because we discovered something in our first ventures into space, something that made us realize the importance of caution. The hologram shifted to show ancient ruins, fragments of technology that predated known civilization. We found evidence of cycles. Civilizations rising, reaching into space, and then vanishing completely. Something was systematically wiping out spacefaring races. The chamber fell silent. We decided to develop differently, Chen continued. To advance in secret, to protect without revealing ourselves, to prepare for whatever force had caused these extinctions. And now, after centuries of watching and waiting, that force is returning. The hologram changed one final time, showing massive energy signatures at the galaxy's edge. Patterns of movement that spoke of purpose, of intelligence, of threat. This is why we've chosen to reveal ourselves now, Chen said, her voice carrying across the silent chamber. Humanity's shadow fleet has protected the Concordat from pirates, natural disasters, and small-scale threats. But what's coming is beyond anything we can handle alone. We need to stand together. Admiral Nexera stepped forward. The human fleet's technology is centuries ahead of our own in many areas. Their quantum architecture alone represents a fundamental shift in how we understand space travel. But they're not here to conquer or dominate. They've had that opportunity for generations and chose to protect instead. Chen nodded. We're offering a full technological exchange. Everything we've developed, every advancement we've made, we'll share it all. In return, we need the Concordat's cooperation, your resources, your different perspectives on science and technology. What's coming doesn't just threaten humanity or the Concordat. It threatens all life in the galaxy. The chamber erupted in discussion, delegates conferring in dozens of languages. The hologram continued to display the ominous movements at the galaxy's edge, a constant reminder of the threat that had prompted humanity's emergence from the shadows. There's one more thing, Chen said, silencing the chamber once more. We've begun detecting quantum architecture signatures from the approaching force. Whoever they are, whatever they want, they've discovered the same principles we did, and they're using them for something very different than protection. The implications hung heavy in the air. Humanity had developed their technology to hide and defend. These new entities were using similar principles, but they were using them to hunt. The quantum corridor opened silently in deep space, disgorging the stellar horizon and 3 Concordat vessels into the darkness near the galaxy's rim. Captain Chen stood on her bridge, watching the real-time quantum scans of the surrounding space. The ship's true capabilities were no longer hidden. Its sensors reached through multiple dimensions, probing space in ways the Concordat was only beginning to understand. Contact, announced Lieutenant Rivera from her station. Multiple quantum signatures detected at bearing 347. They're different from ours, Captain. More aggressive somehow. Chen nodded. After 3 weeks of careful pursuit, they had finally caught up with one of the advanced scouts of the approaching force. Show me. The bridge's holographic display came alive, showing a vessel that seemed to twist reality around itself. Where human ships used quantum architecture to hide, this craft used it to tear through space-time, leaving wounds in reality that slowly bled radiation. By the void, breathed Admiral Nexera from her position on the bridge. The Concordat leader had insisted on joining this reconnaissance mission. The fabric of space itself is being damaged. Quantum wake analysis complete, Rivera reported. Their architecture isn't just different, it's parasitic. They're feeding off the energy released by damaging reality itself. Chen felt a chill run down her spine. This explained the extinction cycles they had discovered. These beings weren't just destroying civilizations, they were consuming the very space they existed in. They're altering course, Rivera announced suddenly. They've detected us. Quantum signature is expanding. The alien vessel began to change, its form twisting through impossible angles. Where human ships could shift their configuration through parallel spaces, this craft seemed to exist in multiple realities simultaneously, each one more distorted than the last. Battle stations, Chen ordered calmly. Show them what humanity's been working on for the past 3 centuries. The stellar horizon responded instantly, its quantum architecture flowing like liquid metal. But instead of shifting through parallel spaces, it created them. New dimensions bloomed around the ship, each one carefully engineered to contain and redirect energy. The alien vessel struck first, launching what appeared to be a conventional energy weapon. But as the beam approached, it began to split and multiply, attacking through multiple dimensional planes simultaneously. Quantum defense grid active, Rivera reported. The space around the stellar horizon crystallized into geometric patterns that shouldn't have been possible in normal spacetime, each facet redirecting the multi-dimensional attack into carefully constructed pocket universes. By the first light, Nexera whispered, your defenses actually create and destroy dimensions. Chen allowed herself a small smile. Humanity learned early on that the best way to handle extra-dimensional energy was to give it somewhere else to go. Fire control. Show them our solution to multi-dimensional attacks. The stellar horizon's primary weapon array came online. Unlike the brutal space-time tiers of the alien vessel, the human ship's quantum cannons were elegant in their devastation. Each shot created a cascade of controlled dimensional collapses designed to fold hostile space-time architectures in on themselves. The alien vessel tried to evade, twisting through dimensions that human scientists had mapped centuries ago. But the quantum cascade followed, collapsing each escape route until the hostile ship was forced back into normal space. Target their primary quantum core, Chen ordered. Let's see what they're made of. The final shot struck with surgical precision. The alien vessel's quantum architecture imploded, its impossible geometries collapsing into a single point of reality. For a moment, its true form was visible, a crystalline structure that pulsed with stolen dimensional energy. Then it was gone, leaving only a slowly healing tear in spacetime. Analysis of quantum core debris coming in, Rivera reported, her voice tense. Captain, it's made of the same material as the ancient ruins we found. These aren't new enemies. They're the ones who caused the extinction cycles. They've been feeding off the death of civilizations for millions of years. Chen stared at the dissipating quantum energies where the alien ship had been. Send everything we have to Earth Command and the Concordat Council. They need to know what we're really dealing with. These beings, Nexera said slowly, they're not just destroying civilizations. They're consuming the space-time those civilizations exist in. Each extinction cycle feeds them, makes them stronger, which is why they keep letting new civilizations develop. Chen finished. They're farming the galaxy, waiting for each new race to reach the point where their dimension-capable technology provides the most efficient feeding ground. Rivera's console chimed again. Multiple quantum signatures detected at extreme range. Hundreds of them. The main fleet is accelerating, Captain. They know we can fight them now. Good, Chen said, her expression hardening. Because humanity didn't spend 3 centuries hiding and preparing to lose our galaxy to quantum parasites. Signal the Shadow Fleet. All ships are to begin quantum architecture upgrades on Concordat vessels immediately. If these ancient horrors want to consume our reality, They're going to learn that humanity's been redesigning reality itself since we first reached the stars. The stellar horizon's quantum drive engaged, opening a corridor back to Concordat space. They had a war to prepare for, one that would be fought not just through space, but through the very fabric of reality itself. The combined fleet of human and Concordat ships hung in the void of the galaxy's edge, a testament to what could be achieved in mere weeks when necessity demanded it. Captain Chen watched from the stellar horizon's bridge as the last of the Concordat vessels completed their quantum architecture upgrades. Where once there had been conventional ships of crystal and metal, now there stood a fleet that could bend reality itself. The Mechanists' computational arrays have fully integrated with our quantum targeting systems, reported Lieutenant Rivera. Concordat energy weapons have been successfully modified to operate in quantum space. We're as ready as we'll ever be, Captain. Status of the incoming hostile fleet? Chen asked, though the quantum sensors had already painted a grim picture in her mind. 517 quantum-capable vessels approaching in attack formation, Rivera answered. Their space-time distortions are expanding. They're not even trying to hide their feeding anymore. Admiral Nexera's crystalline form pulsed with determination beside Chen. The Voidborn battle groups report ready. Their plasma containment fields have been modified according to human specifications. They can now project quantum stabilization fields. Chen nodded. The plan they had devised was either brilliant or suicidal, possibly both. The Concordat races had taken humanity's quantum technology and adapted it in ways even humans hadn't considered. The Voidborn could now use their plasma forms to stabilize spacetime itself, while the Mechanists' living computers could predict and counter quantum attacks before they fully manifested. All ships, battle formation Delta, Chen ordered. Quantum corridors are to remain closed unless absolutely necessary. We fight them here, in real space, where they have to manifest to feed. The fleet moved with practiced precision, forming layers of defense that existed in both normal and quantum space. The first wave of ancient vessels appeared shortly after, twisted configurations of crystalline matter that seemed to hunger for the very fabric of reality. They're broadcasting, Rivera announced with surprise, in all known frequencies and quantum bands. Let's hear it, Chen commanded. A voice that seemed to echo from multiple dimensions filled the bridge. We are the Quantum Eternal. We have fed on 1 million civilizations across 1,000 galaxies. Your resistance is unprecedented, but ultimately futile. Submit to consumption. Your spacetime will feed our ascension. Chen exchanged glances with Nexera. You know our answer. Then witness true mastery of quantum architecture, the voice replied. The enemy fleet struck as one. Their attacks tearing through multiple dimensional planes. Space itself began to scream as reality was twisted and torn. But the combined fleet was ready. Voidborn squadrons, quantum stabilization fields at full power. Nexera ordered. Mechanist battalions, begin predictive quantum targeting. Chen watched as the plan unfolded. The Voidborn ships projected fields of pure plasma, transformed by human quantum technology, into bubbles of stable spacetime. The enemy's dimensional attacks splashed harmlessly against these zones of enforced reality. Meanwhile, the Mechanists' living computers tracked the quantum probability waves of each enemy vessel, predicting where and when they would materialize to attack. Human quantum weapons struck with devastating accuracy, guided by machine intelligence that could process quantum mathematics faster than organic minds. They're adapting, Rivera warned. Detecting new quantum signatures, they're trying to create artificial dimension duplicates. Just as we predicted, Chen smiled grimly. Signal the crystalline contingent. Execute Operation Prism. The crystalline ships of the Concordat, their forms enhanced by quantum architecture, began to vibrate at precise frequencies. The space around them shattered into countless facets, each one reflecting and refracting quantum energy. The enemy's dimensional duplicates found themselves trapped in a maze of fractured spacetime. Their own power turned against them. Main enemy fleet is attempting to open a quantum corridor, Rivera reported. They're trying to retreat. Not this time, Chen said firmly. All ships, execute final attack pattern. Show them why humanity spent 3 centuries preparing for this moment. The entire human fleet engaged their quantum drives simultaneously, not to create corridors, but to reshape space itself. The fabric of reality groaned as hundreds of ships rewrote the laws of physics in a carefully orchestrated pattern. Quantum lock established, Rivera announced. They're trapped in normal space. The ancient vessels writhed as their quantum abilities were stripped away, forced to exist in a single dimension for the first time in eons. Without their ability to feed on space-time, they were vulnerable. All ships, open fire, Chen ordered. The combined fleet struck with everything they had. Human quantum weapons collapsed the ancient vessels into singularities. Concordat energy beams, modified to strike through multiple probability states, shattered their crystalline forms. Void-born plasma reduced their quantum cores to base matter. In the end, it wasn't even close. The beings that had fed on civilizations for millions of years found themselves outmatched by the very races they had intended to consume. As the last enemy ship imploded, Chen turned to Nexara. Signal all commands, she said. The rim is secured. But this was just their advance fleet. The real war is about to begin. Nexara's crystalline form resonated with grim determination. Then we will face it together. Humanity has taught us that evolution isn't just about survival. It's about cooperation. About finding new ways to exist. Chen watched as space-time slowly healed around them, the scars of quantum combat fading into normalcy. That's why we'll win, she said softly. They consume. We adapt. They destroy reality. We learn to shape it into something new. Together. The combined fleet regrouped, preparing for the battles to come. At the galaxy's edge, reality itself seemed to hold its breath, waiting to see what this new alliance would forge from the quantum fires of war. 6 months after the Battle of the Rim, the Concordat Central Chamber looked very different from the day humanity had first revealed itself. Quantum architecture now flowed through the crystalline walls, allowing the chamber to exist simultaneously in multiple dimensional states. Representatives from every spacefaring race gathered not just physically, but across several planes of reality, their enhanced consciousness able to perceive and process multiple dimensions at once. Captain Chen stood at the center of it all, her uniform now bearing both human and Concordat insignia. The stellar horizon's quantum core hummed in synchronization with the chamber's dimensional frequencies, a testament to how far integration between human and Concordat technology had come. The quantum barrier network is now complete, she announced to the assembled delegates. Every major system in Concordat space is protected by overlapping fields of stabilized reality. The quantum eternal can no longer simply tear their way into our galaxy to feed. Admiral Nexara, now bearing the title of Joint Fleet Commander, moved forward. Her crystalline form had been enhanced with human quantum tech, allowing her to shift between dimensional states at will. But they will try. The long-range quantum arrays have detected their main fleet. They number in the thousands, and they're hungry. The chamber's holographic display activated, showing the approaching armada. Each ship was a twisted aberration of space-time, their very existence an offense against reality. But now, thanks to humanity's centuries of preparation and the Concordat's rapid adaptation, they were no longer an unstoppable force. Let them come, said the Void-born High Speaker, their plasma form contained within a quantum-enhanced field. Our civilizations have achieved more together in 6 months than any of us managed alone in millennia. We are ready. Chen nodded in agreement. The changes had been staggering. The Void-born had learned to use their plasma nature to stabilize entire regions of space-time. The mechanists had integrated quantum mathematics into their living computers, achieving computational abilities that bordered on precognition. The crystalline races had discovered they could refract and redirect quantum energy through their natural forms, creating defensive systems that were virtually impenetrable. There's something else, Chen said, her expression serious. Our deep space quantum probes have confirmed our suspicions. The quantum eternal aren't just consuming our galaxy. They've been moving from galaxy to galaxy, feeding off the dimensional energy of entire civilizations. We're not just fighting for our space. We're fighting to end a cycle of consumption that spans the universe itself. The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. The holographic display shifted, showing other galaxies, other potential battlegrounds in a war that suddenly seemed much larger than anyone had imagined. This is why humanity hid for so long, Chen continued. We knew we needed to be ready not just to defend our galaxy, but to take the fight to them, to end their feeding once and for all. She gestured, and the display showed a new ship design, a joint project between human and Concordat engineers. It was massive, easily 10 times the size of the stellar horizon, and incorporated the best aspects of every species' technology. The Quantum Vanguard class, Chen announced, capable of stable intergalactic travel through quantum space, armed with weapons that can rewrite the laws of physics themselves, crewed by representatives from all our species, working together in ways the quantum eternal could never understand. Because that's their fundamental weakness, Nexura added. They consume, they destroy, they feed, but they never create, never cooperate, never evolve beyond their hunger. The first Quantum Vanguard vessel was already under construction in orbit around Earth, its quantum skeleton taking shape in multiple dimensions simultaneously. It represented something unprecedented, not just an advance in technology, but in the very way civilizations could work together. We've already proven we can beat them in conventional combat, Chen said. Now it's time to take the next step, to push them back not just from our galaxy, but from every galaxy they've infested, to show them that reality isn't their feeding ground, it's our home. The chamber erupted in agreement, voices rising across multiple dimensional planes. The quantum eternal had spent millions of years consuming civilizations, growing fat on stolen spacetime. But they had never encountered anything like this, species working together, combining their strengths, evolving beyond the sum of their parts. They thought they were the ultimate power in the universe, Chen said quietly, but they never understood the real source of power. Not consumption, not destruction, but creation, cooperation, growth. She looked out at the assembled delegates, at the representatives of species that had gone from strangers to allies in the span of months, at the quantum architecture that now connected them all, allowing them to perceive and interact with reality in ways that would have seemed impossible just a year ago. Humanity spent 3 centuries preparing for this war, she concluded, not just developing technology, but learning about every species in the galaxy, understanding their strengths, their potential. We didn't hide because we were afraid. We hid because we knew that when the time came to fight back, we would need to do it together. The Quantum Vanguard's hologram rotated slowly above the chamber, its impossible geometry a testament to what could be achieved when civilizations truly worked together. At the galaxy's edge, the Quantum Eternal's fleet approached, still believing they were about to feed on another defenseless civilization. They were about to learn just how wrong they were. The age of hiding was over. The age of consumption was ending. The age of unity had begun.